You can't stop thinking about them. They're always on your mind. They're in your dreams. You keep visualizing them. You keep feeling like you're missing them. All of that. Now, they can be very real in terms of what you feel, but can souls actually join together? My answer is no.
Team Reez.
I'm gonna get straight to the point. Soul ties are not a real thing. Not only are they not a real thing, they also are not biblical. But there is truth in what a soul tie is described as. I've always heard about soul ties and I would think, yeah, that sounds true, but I never really questioned it or dug deeper into it. Recently, I decided to do some research about it, and boy, it got complicated and confusing quickly. To hit every angle, I would have to explain the difference between a soul and a spirit. Is there even a difference? Are we dichotomous beings? Are we trichotomous beings? What do those two words even mean? This video will be way too complicated if I got into all of that. And if you know me, I like to keep things simple and to the point. So we're gonna jump right into defining what a soul tie is, and I'll add in the necessary parts as they come up. But before we do that, I just want to preface this video by saying that I am not speaking on this topic with authority. Meaning, I'm not telling you this is what you need to believe or you're stupid. You can believe whatever you want. All I'm doing is sharing my research and my thoughts and logical conclusions I draw from it. I highly encourage you to do the same for yourself. So what is a soul tie? Basically, it's a new age term that describes when two people have sex or share other forms of physical, mental, or emotional intimacy, their souls bind or tie together. It's most often seen as a bond formed through sexual relations outside of marriage that has destructive consequences on a person emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and physically. What happens after this is when you want to leave that person or not be with them anymore, it becomes very difficult. You can't stop thinking about them. They're always on your mind. They're in your dreams. You keep visualizing them. You keep feeling like you're missing them. All of that. Now, they can be very real in terms of what you feel, but can souls actually join together? My answer is no. When a man and a woman get married, they become one flesh and move as one. This is what consummating the marriage means. Physically joining together through the act of sexual intimacy. There's a whole background message on the significance of sex inside of marriage, but we'll stick to the basics. Genesis chapter 2 verse 24 says that a married couple becomes one flesh. It never says they become one soul or one spirit. The tying of souls in a soul tie would imply that two separate souls act as one and are recognized as one, and that is just simply not true. Listen to this clip.
And when referring to soul ties, many will also reference 1 Corinthians 6:16, and it reads, "Do you not know that he who unites himself with a prostitute is one with her in body? For it is said, the two will become one flesh." Look, this is a clear warning against sex outside of marriage, yes. But notice that it refers to the flesh, which is part of the body, not the soul. And there is no reference to a person's soul now being joined together with another. If you have attached yourself to another person in an unhealthy way, if you have engaged in sex outside of marriage, then yes, my friend, this can create brokenness within you that needs healing, but it does not mean that your soul is now fragmented or that you've lost a part of yourself to another person. This is a new age concept that teaches you that you are now bound to each soul of anyone that you've had sexual intimacy with by cords. And the only way that you can break this bond or cord or tie is through incantations.
Now, if you don't know what incantations are, allow these clips to explain.
Here's what I want to do. I want you to pray this prayer. Repeat after me. I'll pause after every sentence. And this is the prayer to break the soul tie. So here's what you're going to say. I break the unhealthy soul tie between me and, say the person's name, okay? So you're just going to say, I break the unhealthy soul tie between me and then say their name. After you say that, I want you to say, I send back any part of their soul that I have kept, and I take back to myself any part of me that they have kept.
The practice of speaking formulated prayers and taking back parts of your soul and giving back parts of other people's souls that you have taken, that is not a part of Christianity. That is not taught in the Bible. That is paganism, and that is New Age belief. And it's actually casting spells. It's actually a spell known as a cord-cutting spell that goes with the pagan and New Age belief of soul ties. It's certainly not a part of the Christian faith.
So if you are feeling all these strong feelings and thoughts of someone and you just can't seem to make them stop, and it feels like, wow, I'm really connected to this person's soul, it's most likely lust that is present.
Another way is you've left a relationship, but you obsess over them or you think about them constantly. Everybody knows what this is like, to leave a relationship, but have constant thoughts about the person, even though you're not in the relationship with them. You're not even with them. And you say, I'm tired of having nonstop thoughts about them. I can't stop thinking about them. I haven't been with them for months. I haven't been with them for years, but I keep thinking about them. This is a symptom of a soul tie, is these nonstop, remember the mind, the will, and the emotion, the mind, these constant thoughts about them. Okay.
That's not a soul tie, that's lust. And you don't even need to have been in a relationship with someone to be like that. I'm sure we've all seen guys who obsess over a girl that's never ever even been interested in them. And yet they think for some reason this girl's interested in them and they're obsessing over them and thinking about them all the time. They've never been in a relationship with them, but yet they can't get them out of their mind and the girl can't get away from them and he keeps on harassing them. That's not a soul tie, my friend. That's called lust. And the answer is not to break a soul tie. The answer is to repent of your sin. That's the answer.
Now I'm going to get into what I believe is a more accurate way to describe soul ties. As I stated earlier, There is truth in it. It's just not an actual combining, taking away, or sharing of souls. The physical, psychological, and physiological aspects describing how soul ties are defined are real in the sense that they can be explained from a secular standpoint and a Christian standpoint, but souls don't actually intermingle. Every soul is distinct, even in marriage. Whenever we get into an intimate relationship with someone, they introduce influence into our lives. It's not that they have this bond or tie on our soul that we need to be delivered from. It's just that they have influence. That's why who we allow into our life, mind, emotions, and body is extremely important. So instead of saying you have a soul tie, it's much more accurate to say you have someone who influenced your soul. And the reason why it causes so much grief is because there was either an unhealthy attachment present, an ungodly one formed through sin, or both, which is what we see in the worst cases. So even though saving sex for marriage isn't the cool thing to do or say these days, the ramifications for having sex outside of marriage and gaining attachments to people you won't be with permanently are very costly and usually painful. But y'all not gonna listen to me when I say that, so listen to this testimony.
And let me tell you ladies right now, there's been guys in my life that I slept with and I thought I was over, and the next you know it, I see them at like a party or something, and then we start talking again, only to sleep with the same person again, and they're not trying to commit to me. It's just like a cycle where we see each other, we sleep together, and you know, he loves me, I love him, but he doesn't want to commit to me. And I don't know about you ladies, but that's the worst feeling in the world. And the reason why it's so hard for you to stop dealing with someone that's not good to you is that when two people have sex, right? Let me just say, this is why God said wait to marriage to have sex. When two people have sex, in God's eyes, you are now one. There's a verse in the Bible that literally says this: your soul, your body, ever since you had sex with that person, that's all your body is craving. Your body is craving for that certain toxic person. It's very important that if I were you ladies, to be celibate starting today. You know, I told you guys earlier in the year that I was celibate, and then I broke my celibacy because I had a boyfriend, and I immediately regret it. He turned out to be the worst of the worst guys I ever dated. And then after I had broke up with him, you know, I started talking back to someone from my past, you know, that I felt like pretty much was a joke because, you know, we would talk, our chemistry is there, but it never went nowhere. You know, obviously, like, we slept together, and I've been feeling like very uneasy for weeks. And I'm like, what's wrong with me? It's because of the soul ties. Every time you sleep with someone, you know, if their energy is off, you're gonna inherit their personality. Don't just think it's okay to have friends with benefits, or, you know, a guy, one of your exes, like, it's okay for you to sleep with him because you slept with him before. I used to think the same way, like, oh, I can sleep with him again. Like, it's not like I'm gonna have a new body count. Like, I slept with him before, so we could sleep together again. If a man is not willing to commit to you, why are you sleeping with him? Why are you risking having this soul tie on you that's gonna be so hard to come out of? Why are you doing that to yourself? Ladies, don't F what you see. F what you see on the internet about having WAP and throwing it back and this and that. You know what I'm saying? That's what the devil wants us to do. The devil wants us to engage in premarital sex and engage in and normalizing one-night stands and friends with benefits, making it seem like there's nothing wrong with that. But there is something wrong with that. Do you ever sleep with someone and immediately feel guilty, or you feel used, or you feel like trash, like, ew, why did I do that? That's not by that's not by accident. You know what I'm saying? God is speaking to you. And you know what? I've always been that type of person. I've always, you know, even though I'm grown, I lost my virginity at 25 because I always felt like a guy doesn't deserve my body. My mom used to tell me that all the time. But also, like, I just felt like, even when I lost my virginity, I felt like dirty, like, ugh, like he didn't deserve me like that. I still regret the guys that I slept with. If I could do it over again, I would be a virgin, honestly, and just wait until I got married to have sex. Even thinking about it right now, it just makes me want to cry because it's just like, damn. You know, I felt like God was always telling me, Paige, you should wait, you should always wait. But like I said, you kind of give into peer pressure when all your friends is doing it, and then you have a guy that you're really into. You don't feel like they're going to leave you or anything, so you just give in. And let me just say, every guy that I've been with, obviously, you know, they respected me. Like, you're not on bad terms. I'm not on bad terms with my exes, but I don't feel like they deserve me because a lot of them cheated. A lot of them would sleep with someone else when I didn't know about it. And now every time, and whoever they slept with, ladies, guess who you slept with? Every guy you sleep with, and the women that they slept with, you slept with them as well. So what to do to reverse it? The best way I know how is to get right with God. Because I noticed that every time I was sleeping with these guys, that me and my relationship with God was not as strong. And the devil knows when you and God's relationship is not that strong. So what he does, the devil is not going to tempt you with things that are going to things that you're not going to be interested in. The way the devil lingers you to sleep with people and have soul ties is he's going to send a cute, sexy chocolate man your way because he knows that's your type. And he's going to make sure that man tells you everything you want to hear. But then boom, you get into bed with them, and then they change on you. And then you're hurt, you hate guys, but then you meet another dark-skinned guy. And he's a little bit different than the other guy. He's not going to hurt me. You sleep with him, it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be the same cycle. Because once you abstain from sex, once you are celibate, then you can see guys for what they really are. Then you can differentiate, okay, who wants me for me and who just wants me for my freaking body. It's time. If you never practiced celibacy before, do it today. If you feel like you haven't been the same in months, your spirit is very weak. It's in the flesh. And right now, you want God to renew your soul, renew your spirit. All it takes is prayer, but not just one. It's going to be hard. There's going to be some times where your exes hit you up and they're going to want to link with you, but that's when you got to put your foot down.
I know this is a loaded topic that everyone isn't going to agree on, but if you do disagree, ask yourself why. Is it a matter of fact that you disagree with, Or did I just share something that hurt your feelings? As I said, my intent is not to speak on this with a final say so. I just want to give you some things to consider for your own judgment. Be great, family. Easy.
Team Reez.
Thanks for watching. Click here to subscribe and click here to watch more videos.
Na na na